Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Zero number 119B bronze spring cushion adhesive gasketing. This material is referred to as V-cushion. That's what I was taught to call it, V-cushion. You can see why it might be called V-cushion. Okay. The 119B from Zero is self-adhesive. Okay. Has a self-adhesive backing to it that would permit you, of course, to peel away that paper backer and apply it with two-sided tape. Now, that's not the common or traditional way to install the material, certainly. It would be installed with nails, most commonly, and you would see possibly the more common sister product, the 119WB, which is an 1.1 wide when it's a V-cushion, used in wood door and wood frame residential applications. In fact, architectural bronze has been used in a V-cushion, certainly in a spring bronze style, certainly dating to the latter part of the 19th century. So the material's been around forever. And spring bronze and V-cushion. Spring bronze is not a V. It's otherwise flat that has a couple of partial bends as a result of the roll forming process, which I believe is how it's made, that will force it to stand proud against the flattened area here. If I could make my hand move that way, you'd see it. There is a link below this video to the product brochure that will allow you to look at what spring bronze would be, what it would look like. A number 21 would be a part number there. That's a real common one as well. So the 119 is available in bronze only. The 119 is available, and that is 3/4 wide. The 119 is available as a WB, which is the W for wide. That's 1.1. That's pretty common. 1.1 is pretty common for V-cushion, like I said. But the 119B that we're focusing on here is 3/4 wide. Now let's see what the caliper says in terms of that. Not exact. 0.69 inch. 0.69, so it's coming in shy of 3/4 inch. 0.69 is the overall width. The overall width of the shorter leg, not that that matters so much, but that's coming in at 0.417. 0.417. Then the thickness of the material in its uncompressed state, or let's take a look at that when it's uncompressed. I'd say you'd be at 0.266. 0.266. From the bottom here to the top here. And then when I compress it down with my finger, I should be able to fold that down to about 100 thousandths. About 0.85, 0.085 inch. So if my gap was 1/8 of an inch, this would be really great for that sort of a gap. If it was smaller, 100 thousandths, that's going to start to get pretty tight. So be mindful of how much you're going to crush that down. Now, regarding the self-adhesive tape, I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. I don't have any data or response from the field in terms of the longevity of a pressure-sensitive adhesive installation. Historically, Zero had used 3M products for their adhesives, which in my experience is the highest quality adhesive product that's available. I've tried many, and 3M's the one that does the job the best. So if that's still the case, they don't indicate the brand of the adhesive in their product catalog, but if that's still the case, I would expect the highest potential results when it comes to self-adhesive material. You're going to want to make sure that your frame is utterly clean of debris, fingerprints, oil, anything that's foreign. If the frame has been recently painted or stained, you're going to want to wait till that's all been cured, at least a week. If it's been stained or clear coated, you might rough that up a little bit and then clean it with an alcohol wipe. This adhesive is going to work only and has a shot only to work when the installation has been very solidly done, providing a clean surface. Lots of pressure to get that material put down would be my recommendation. Otherwise, nails would be how this would be normally put in. So be mindful of that as well. And they do, and we can sell you those nails. But some people say, you know what? I understand. I don't have a hammer. I don't have the time, desire to nail something in. This pressure-sensitive adhesive is going to be good enough for me. So I say, great. And there we go. Now this is listed in the site in lots of different lengths. This happens to be a 3-foot length. This is the client's header on the opening. There are also two 7-foot pieces behind me. There is also a link to the installation instructions that show where the material is to be installed. And you'll note on the installation instructions that the first thing they're telling us regards to thoroughly clean the surface of the frame. It's that important. Steps 1, 2, and 3 before installation, that's all clear-cut and straightforward. The installation. Install the headpiece first along the entire length of the header. Measure and cut the gasketing to the size and place properly, referring to the drawings for location at the head. So the lock side and the header will get it in the same location. Turns out with this weather stripping, it's going to go on the door rabbet in all instances. And they do literally show it on the hinge side running down over the face of the hinge. I can tell you that I've seen that installed that way as well. Run it right over the hinge. Remove the paper backing from the self-adhesive strip, PSA, pressure-sensitive adhesive. Align on the head and press firmly into place. Step 2, install the strike jam gasketing next. Following procedures as outlined in Step 1, refer to drawings for placement on the strike jam, again, on the rabbet. Install the hinge jam gasketing last. Following procedures as outlined in Step 1, refer to the drawing. Got it. So what they're not referring to is the fact that on your strike jam, you're likely going to have an interrupt from the header down to the top of your deadbolt strike, and then from the bottom of the deadbolt strike to the top of the lock strike, there'll be an interrupt there. So generally what's done is someone will order a lock strip, and Zero does not have a piece of equipment specifically called lock strip, unfortunately. But what you can consider doing is what I recommended this client do. So as we discussed earlier, we have a strike jam with an interrupt for the strikes. This is your 119B. So in your mind's eye, imagine how you're not going to run that over the strikes. You just won't, because the strikes are going to hit that weather stripping. What this client agreed to do is to take the 118B, which the catalog shows as 0.563 or 9/16. Well, the caliper is actually telling me that it's about 0.48 or so, and installing it on the face of the stop so that you do have coverage where you have that interrupt. Now, that 118B really only pinched down as well to about 85 thousandths as well. So be mindful of the fact that you have to have enough room between the door face and the face of the stop to account for that additional piece of material that you're going to be putting there. You might have to file the strike out a little bit if you chose to go that way. A lot of people just aren't going to be thinking about that small interrupt. However, if you're weather stripping the door and you're leaving part of it unweather stripped, I would say you're not really weather stripping the door. So be mindful that they don't have an answer for that interrupt. Other manufacturers do, but it's the same principle. It's a lock strip. So we're using our knowledge on how other manufacturers do it and apply it to the Zero model, and would suggest that you consider that as well. Or you might be just installing it in such a way that it's not interrupting your latch bolts and the strikes, and maybe you're notching the weather stripping slightly so that the latch bolt can enter where it has to go. But you're certainly not going to want to have the latch bolt of your lock right over that weather stripping. You'll need to have an interrupt at some point there for the material. But a lock strip installed on the face of the stop is generally how that's done. So back to the lengths listed in the site in straight lengths, everything from 2 foot to 8 foot. If you have a 3-foot door that's 80 inch tall, order a 3-footer and a couple of 7-foot pieces, and you're off to the races. Very thin material. Let's tell you what the gauge of the material is. I don't know that they tell us that anywhere. Let's get the caliper out and check how thick this bronze is. It's probably about 22 thousandths would be my guess. That's where I'm putting my money. Not even. About 10 thousandths. 0.01. So it's very thin material. And I'm putting the caliper on the end that's been cut. You can easily cut that with a utility shear. It wouldn't be really anything at all. But it is thin material. However, this is the material that's really been used over the decades to great success. It's not uncommon to see spring bronze or V-cushion installed in a customer's residential application for decades. And then they really only call because over the years and over the decades, what happens is the nails that are holding it in, with the door closing and opening literally hundreds of thousands of times, if not millions of times, the weather stripping gets slotted where the nail is at and literally starts to work its way loose with the pushing and then the pulling action. It ovalizes that hole. So they really only replace it because of outright fatigue of the material. But from a weather stripping perspective, while it may not have a huge R value, it sure mechanically seals the door exceptionally well. So that would be why I think people use it and continue to use it today. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Zero products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the Zero number 119B, V-cushion bronze weather stripping, or any other Zero product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.